me, like, till what point were you guys able to get what I was saying at that time regarding the sections? Or should I start from the beginning here?
So, sir, by the time you were not here, we were actually in talks with all the other participants. So, I think you can proceed it from the place where you left.
Okay, cool. So guys, the as I mentioned regarding the academic profile table, which I was kind of showing the CV, where a table kind of structure should come into the picture, where on the top of the CV you guys can put a table which is mentioning your 10th, 12th and grades and the year, board and everything. Okay. The point here remains is regarding certain thing which you can add to make your CV unique. That is your academic projects and research papers. Okay. So this is something which might not all of you might have, but if you have something like this, you should surely mention it in your CV. You can introspect about it. If you haven't taken up any research project or any research paper till now, you can opt for it only in case you want to add some meat to your academic profile there. Okay, that was one unique thing which you can add. Therefore I highlighted it in red. Okay, talking about second section, that is internships and certification. See, within this section you should surely have company name, position, month and year of the internship in the domain. What I have clubbed here is regarding the internships and certifications, because most of the time people usually have 2 to 3 internships and 1 or 2 certifications, and they end up making 2 or 3 different sections for the same. Okay, and making each and every section separately takes a lot of your CV space. Okay, you just have to make your CV from the point that you have to save space as much as possible so that you can put in a lot of points on it. Okay, therefore I've clubbed internships and certifications here. Okay, guys, can you move on to the next slide here? Yeah, yeah, so this is an example where I'm showing the spike ribbon. Okay, the black ribbon which you see on top of the work experience, that is which is mentioning around 5 key terms, that is kind of a spike ribbon which you might not have seen in most of the CVs. Uh, it could also be that your placecom might not allow you to put such a ribbon there, but if there's customization possible, do add such a ribbon on top of your profile, even above the academic table. This ribbon should contain 4 to 5 specific pointers or specific keywords which highlight the major thing in your CV. Like in my profile, I had MBA from IIM Coricode, so I put it there. Then I am working as an FNP consultant, I put it there. The other important thing was Amex intern, so I did an internship there, so I put it there. Then UG department rank, I put it there, and POR as well, placement set. Okay, so these 5 things denote each and every different thing. Like one, something is of a CAD, something is of work experience, something is of POR, but you need to have certain spikes in your CV which you think are key pointers which make your CV unique. You can put it in the ribbon up the top. Okay, let's move ahead, guys. Okay, the sections then can be awards and achievements, which should have both academic achievements and college achievements under the same section. Then regarding position of responsibility, where which you should have your organization first. Under the organization, which is a school name or a college name, you can have position, period and content. So the basic highlight of this slide is that you need to have minimum of these things on your CV in that structure or in the section. You should not miss out on mentioning the period or the position or the college name or school name, because those are the mere basics which you should have in that section. Okay, and the last section to end the CV would be extracurricular activities, where though many people confuse it for POR as well or even achievements as well, but it is different from both of them, because here you have to highlight something which you do outside of your work, outside of your academics. It could be something regarding, say, NGO work which you have done, or either you are part of some Toastmasters club in your city or somewhere. Okay, you are involved in art of living something, or many other things are there. Okay, people do put those things under extracurricular activities. There are certain categories to it where you can put in under management, under literature, under public speaking, or under social work. I have highlighted hobbies here in red again majorly because it is advised to keep one liner at the end under extracurriculars as hobbies. But the thing is that if you are running out of space on your CV and you think that your CV is going way above one pager, then you can remove that as well. Okay, but from personal experience, I believe if you have something mentioned in your hobbies which you have carefully thought of, like if you like reading books, that doesn't mean that you can just mention two or three, like you are avid reader and something. You need to have complete clarity on that, because from the recruiter point of view, he would want to know more about your personal life or something you do outside of your work. And that's where hobbies kick in. If you are mentioning that you are involved in, say, uh, hiking or traveling something, then you should have some meat to talk about, like you have trekked for certain kilometers on this and this and so many places there, right? It just doesn't mean that you went once to Vaishno Devi and you were like, okay, I have to do trekking now. Okay. So that's something you should carefully think about, and then you should mention it in your hobbies. Let's move forward, guys. Yeah. Now let's come to the major section of how you can start developing your CV. The structure and everything is still good. You will get a lot of structures on Google. You will get a structure from your platform as well, how you have to put your points. The structures will vary over time. You will get a fixed structure you have to follow. But how to put content into that? And that's where the major problem arises. Okay. So I have this guide of steps kind of which you can follow to basically generate content for your CV. Now given condition is that if you're struggling to write points but you have some things in your profile, like you are working as a placecom member, or you have certain achievements and everything, but you don't have any collated list. Okay, so let's start from there. The first step in developing your CV is the master file of points. Okay, that is something which involves a lot of introspection. Like, for this step I would want you guys to sit in a room carefully, like with peace, no disturbance. Think about all the things which you have done in life today. Even if you won a race in class 7, then also write that point in this. There's no limit to the year background with which you can extend this. Like, even if you have something in third, fourth class, just write it down once. Okay. It should be first made in a Word file. It should have all the points under various categories. If you can categorize it at this level itself, like it's an achievement, it's an certification, it's an internship, then write that. Okay. Within that, you should also detail it out as long as possible. There's no length, there's no limit on the type of content you can include. There's no limit on the type of length of the sentences you can include. Don't worry right now about like it has to be one page, sorry, one liner. It has to be 2 points only. I can put it there. Don't worry about anything. Just introspect and churn out maximum meat possible on that Word file once. Okay, that will be your first draft, or what you say is master file of points. Okay, from that we'll pick up in step number 2. Step number 2 would be master draft 1.0. See, when I mention here master draft, when I'm talking about master things here, that's because it will have all the points. You don't have to shrink it down to one pager right now. Okay, now I want the word points which you have, the list, everything. Bring everything into the blank structure which you have with you. Okay, the structure which I talked about earlier. Okay, in that structure, put down all those points in the various sections, various categories which I talked about. Okay, and still don't worry about the liners or the words extending or the page going more than one. Don't worry about it. Just make sure you are categorizing each and everything carefully. Like, if something is of extracurriculars, put it in extracurriculars. If something is of academic achievements and college achievements, separate it well. Within college, if you think something is of academic achievement, like if you have some award received for certain subject, you are top scorer in that, then it will be an academic achievement only. Okay, but you have participated in certain competition and you won some prize there, then that would be your college achievement specifically. Okay, there's no limit on the page numbers here. You can have 3, 4, 5 pages in this right now. Okay, once you are finalized or you have confident that your master draft 1.0 is ready, then you will move to the third step. That would be master draft 2.0. Now the task begins to work on the content which we have. Okay, and the first foremost task is any CV should not have any line extending to the second line. Like, everything in the page should be one liner. Therefore, you have to break the content into sentences, or the sentences into one liners here. Okay, like if you have written a paragraph on what you did on your internship, okay, just break it into points, kind of bullet points. Okay, break it into this way so that each sentence conveys some value addition. Okay, Like if I'm talking about, for example, about, let's say that you were part of some test project, okay, and there you worked as a project director, suppose, and you generated so much revenue, and you were also participant in test nationals, and you won there, and lot of things you did as part of test member or project director, okay. Now the thing is that you don't have to put everything in the one sentence or one paragraph. Break it down to certain specifics. The first would be, since you were a project director, so you can roll it out in a way that it was my responsibility. As part of my responsibility, I generated this much revenue, and the impact was which community was benefited. This was one part. The second part would be the project received was like we participated in Nectus Nationals or whatever competition, and we won this prize because of our performance. Okay, that would be the second point. Okay, and the third would be like because of so many awards and everything, I was also awarded by maybe the college or appreciated by the team members or the other things. Okay, so you have to break it down to different liners here. Okay, again, here also you don't have any limit on the number of pages. You can make it to 5, because when you will be breaking it down into different liners, it will go even to 6 or 7 pages, or there's no limit to that. Okay, at the moment you just have to think about whatever content you can churn it out, whatever kind of content you can put, just think about it, break it into sentences and put it there in the master draft 2.0. Okay, now once we have this structure filled with the content of one liners in front of us, then we will start with working on the content quality. Okay, the first and foremost task you have in terms of content quality is the action words. Now, I don't know if you guys have started making CVs or not, but what examples I received as type of CVs of the students of your team, that I saw that there are certain sentences which are not starting with action words or not even consistent in terms of the tense which you're talking about. Okay, like if I am talking about certain achievement or certain role and responsibility of my work, I will not mention that working as a consultant, though I'm presently working there, okay, or I'm currently working as part of the project there. But what I'll put it forward is in a way that worked as part of this and this project, conducted these and these many sessions, achieved this and this many things. Okay, if you were part of some society or club and you want to put out like as part of placecom itself, like if you want to put out the sentences that we organize this many sessions, or we called so many companies, so you can say acted as single point of contact for xx number of companies. Okay, uh, then it could be assisted in the placement of these and these many students out of these many people in total. Okay, so you're getting me that in that way you can put action words, and each and every sentence should start from an action word here. In that way it will have consistency in terms of the tense which we are talking about in the CV. Okay, it will also look good when a reader will read it through end to end. Okay, I'll take a brief pause here and would want to know if you guys have any questions till now, then we'll move ahead.
Yes, sir. So like I had this doubt in my mind, like does every pointer under heading needs to be complete one liner or a half line or more words?
Okay, yeah. So I'll be talking about this again, like in the coming bullet points. But yeah, just to sum it up there, yes, it we will work it out to bring it to the same length. Like if you're talking about an internship which you completed with EYs, for suppose, okay, it was a summer internship which you did with EY. Then if you're talking about 2 points within section, you need to make sure that both those points have kind of the same length. The first task is to fill the entire white space. That's the second bullet point which I have here. That white spaces need to be reduced to the extent possible. Guys, take it from an angle here that you have that one page to express yourself, to show your profile to the recruiter. Why would you want to waste space on that page? Cover it to the extent possible. Just make sure it is readable. It's not that hodgepodge where the user recruiter cannot even read it out. Okay, just make sure you the content you're putting is readable, but you ensure that there's no white space. There might be cases where you are lacking content, or the sentence itself is very short and you don't have much to put in there. Then we have certain other tricks to fill that white space that I'll talk about in my next point. But the first and foremost task should be like, if you're breaking it into sentences, the paragraph, make sure that you break it into full liners so that you have minimum white space possible on the CV. Okay. Now the second thing is regarding, if the white space is still there and you still feel that you cannot put more words to it, you cannot make it more bulky in any way. Okay. Then what you can do? There's the trick of condensing and extending the sentences in the word file. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but it's you can Google it out how you can condense the spacing between them and extend the spacing between them. Okay. It advises that you can go to the pointer of 0.1 and 0.2 within that, where you can extend and condense the sentences so as to align them and make sure they are of the same length. Okay. There might be chances like it might become very different to read about, like in terms of visibility. When the sentence is extended or condensed, it might stand out different from the other section. That will be a call which you have to take. If there's nothing you can do about it, then you can leave it. You can leave it the way it is more visibly good. Okay. You guys can surely Google it out how you can condense and extend the wordings and the spacing of a sentence in the word file. It's a very simple step which you can do. Okay. The third thing is regarding the language. Now, once you have action words put up in your sentences, now I want to work on the language or the content of the one line which you have. Okay. Now the thing is, there are 2 to 3 parts of working or improving the language of this line. Okay. The first and foremost being, are you sure it is bringing out the best part which you want to highlight in that uh, sentence? For example, if I'm talking about Enactus again, and if you have worked as a project director and you generated this much revenue, and this was going to this much, this and this community in such area of Delhi. Okay. Now your perspective could be, you have written something that I generated a lot of revenue and this went to this. You are focusing on the community here, that you're mentioning the address as well of the community. Like the, for example, I worked in an actor Sansraj and I was working as a to generate revenue for Samvedna NGO somewhere in the north side of Delhi. Okay. Now the problem was that my first perspective was I'm focusing on the social part of it. Like I'm focusing on the NGO for which we worked. Okay. What that NGO did. I was trying to bring out that point there. Okay. My perspective changed when my mentor told me, like, you need to focus on the revenue part of it or the impact part of it. Okay. That's the best thing of this sentence which you should bring out. Okay. Then you have to work on how you can bring it out. Like in terms of revenue, what's the best thing you can recognize the revenue? The numbers, right? Numbers are the key to your CV. Okay. Any recruiter, even if he doesn't wants to see just at the numbers, but numbers are always eye catching in the sentences. Even if you're leading, let's say if you're leading a team of 10 as a in some position, mention that led a team of 10 members worked on this and this. That 10 will bring out certain uniqueness in your line. It will also be an eye catching step, and it will also be something which will give more impact to the same thing. If you are simply mentioning led a large team to generate this much revenue. Okay. And again the sentence is led a team of 10 plus to generate this much revenue, you can surely notice that the second sentence would be more impactful than the first one. So numbers work magic in your CV. Whatever possible, you can bring out the numbers, mention those numbers. So like if you're talking about the revenue here, so you can mention that generated, let's say 0.3 million revenue in surely in rupees, led a team of 10 plus to generate this much revenue and impacted lives of 20 plus NGO members. See how the sentence turns out in your CV then. 3 different things communicated in a single sentence, each part having its own impact and beautifully depicted through the number. And you can easily bold out certain part of it. You can easily bold out the words such as the numbers. Numbers surely should be bold. Okay. Then the other could be like NGO if you want to bold out, because that is something, is again bringing out the social part of it, the social work which you have done. Okay. That's the third part, that is the bold words. Okay. How do the bold words work in your CV or in a sentence? Okay. We many times, while I also got confused, was which part of the CV or which part of the line should I make sure I am highlighting it out by making it bold. Okay. And what choice of words should I pick out of those? Okay. Like if I'm talking about, say, when I was working at Deloitte as an in audit team. Okay. So let's say I averted xns amount of misstatements in a financial statement, and I averted some irregularity and reporting and everything. Okay. Now the thing is, you can bold out certain impactful, like you can bold out averted as a word. Okay. You can bold out the number, the amount of which you have done. Okay. You can bold out the thing in which you found the irregularity, that could be balance sheet. Okay. And or you can even bold out maybe the impact or the benefit which you received out of it, like you were awarded something out of it. Okay. But you have to bold out the part which you want to highlight there. Like if I'm talking about a finance CV here, I would want to bold out the balance sheet part and the irregularity part instead of the achievements. I already have some other achievements to show in that. Okay. I would want to bold out financial aspect of it. Okay. But if you are working on something, like if you're kind of trying to convey the team spirit you have worked with, or your keenness towards the work, then you can also bold out if you have certain other parts in the sentence, like uh, mm, quick response or some other words which you might have in the sentence. Okay. Choosing the words which you have to bold out is a very crucial step. Okay. And make sure you don't bold out the entire major part of the sentence, because that doesn't work. If everything is in bold, then surely nothing is in bold. Then you have to highlight those points which put that sentence outside of the other section or outside the other sentences, and it becomes eye catching again. Okay. That's next step is here regarding business words. See, business words is something is very difficult to put into your CV. Okay. Let let's suppose if I'm working as an intern with a company, and I'm working on researching on about if they can enter a market or not. Okay. What are the competitors? What's the competitor space existing there? Okay. And what's the market size going to be in some years? Okay. If you're mentioning the details like research about market size, research about the competitive space and everything, it is too bulky and it will take up a lot of space on your CV. The entire thing can be clubbed into a single word, that is market entry strategy. You worked around the market entry strategy for this industry client. Like let's suppose electric vehicles, like electric vehicles client, for an entry of this and this year, like if they want to enter the market in this much year. Okay. Or it could be something where you're working on putting the business words where certain heavy words just to like zazz up your CV. Like if I'm able to highlight one such example was, yeah, I am not sure if you guys also receive this, but there's a Deloitte Maverick competition which occurs. Okay. In DU, many colleges get to be part of it. Okay. So since I was a participant in that competition, and I had mentioned it at my time in my extracurriculars. Now everyone thinks to put it out in a way that, okay, so participated or achieved something or awarded arena winner in Deloitte Maverick competition. Okay. But no one thinks about what kind of impact you want to show from that sentence. What kind of value do you want to add from that? Do you really want to just show it as an achievement, or do you want to show it as a uh, something which recruiter would be interested in? And that is the type of competition it was. So like I researched about it, the nature of the competition was towards the round itself was towards the leadership skills, the team building skills, and intricacies of working, how you can work in a team. Okay. So I mentioned those three keywords in the sentence to highlight that I was part, or I was awarded a prize in that competition which focused on these three skills, like team building, leadership, etc. And I put those words into bold. That totally changes the perspective through which that sentence comes out in your CV now. Okay. We can move on to the next slide, guys. Before that, if you guys have any more questions here.
Sir,
Sir,
I
I
had a
want to
question.
ask if you are having a position.
Sorry, you're not audible.
Responsibility on.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Please go on.
Yeah, so it's that if not having a position of responsibility on your resume is seen as having no leadership experience, or is not looked upon by consulting recruiters. Like, is it somewhere gives the entire resume a downgraded look?
See, position of responsibility is not something you can only get at your college or your school, like from your organization side. It is something you can also gain outside of your college. Like, I understand you might not have a position of responsibility as for now in the CV, but recruiters do look for certain section and certain points in position of responsibility at your stage right now, because they see, from the industry point of view, you might not have the business skills which are required to run the work or run the business, right? But you should kind of show the skills, the soft skills you have, so that you can be trusted with the work. Okay, that is being responsible for that. If you're leading a team, that kind do work in your favor. Okay, if you're trying for a consulting role, for sure it works in your favor. Okay, but still, nonetheless, if you have not been able to work out or develop your position of responsibility points till now, you can surely work out outside your college. You can take up some work with some NGOs. Okay, that also can be brought forward as a position of responsibility. Even if you're organizing certain one kind of an event, okay, in some other outside your college organization, or even in a college organization, if you're organizing some one off event, say, like, I understand I also didn't had much of POR at my time. So what we thought of was, towards the end of the college, that we'll organize a TEDx event. Okay, now TEDx is not associated with any of the society in the college. Okay, we just had to get permission from the admin and we went on to organize it. So that was surely added as a POR in my CV. You getting it?
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Guys, can we move on to the next slide here?
Hello, hi
Yes.
Shubham. I have a doubt.
uh, can we please take it at towards the end of the session, because
Yes,
I would
sure.
just want to cover this slide once and then we surely take your doubts there. Okay, I hope it's the last slide here. Yes. Okay, so once you have the content.
So you're muted.
Hey everyone. So in the meantime, you all are free to put in your questions. If you all can unmute and ask any questions
Hi,
related to what he has explained till now.
guys. I can continue. So sorry. Yeah. So I was suggesting that you can align. The next point is brands and all you have done with. Then you have to align your CV as per the domain. You have to make multiple versions of your CV as per the domain. Like I was suggesting that averted irregularities point. Okay. You can choose to bold out different words in a single sentence for a different domain CV. Make sure you have a different CV for different domains. Just to point out that you cannot just simply put out a marketing CV for a finance one. Okay, just make sure and you are working in that regard with the perspective that you have a finance CV which is different from the marketing one, which is different from the HR one, and the other profiles or the other job roles which are being offered on your campus. Okay, once you have the different domains, then what you can do is you can work on the versions 2.0 and further. These are the versions which will receive multiple iterations. Now for iterations here, I want you guys to reach out to anyone possible you believe could be your mentor. Like, you guys are reaching out to me for this session. I reached out to so many people in my time where I wanted their advice on what their perspective is on my CV. Okay, like if you have a marketing CV, you will reach out to the people who are either placed in marketing, who are working in marketing roles, or even your seniors who have gone through the interviews and other stuff. Okay, they will be able to guide you on how you can bring out more things in marketing CV or maybe finance CV. Okay, like, if you are making these iterations, be open to change, guys. Okay, like there could be instances where entire sentence or entire section is not coming out correct way. Okay, you should be able to go jump to the master draft again and start that section from the beginning again, that writing the content again. Just don't restrict yourself that this is my final version, I have to stick to it, I'll not make any changes to it. Okay, be open to change, make any many changes as possible, show it to everyone, show it to your batchmates also. I can understand there might be some trust issues or some other reasons which might come into picture here, but your batchmates will be the one who will give you a one critical point on your CV, that from their angle, what they think about your CV, how you can bring out best in your CV. Okay, and as I mentioned, open to change. Now you have multiple domain specific CVs which have undergone iterations. You are finally ready to apply for the role. Okay, but believe me, there also certain changes come into picture. Now within a finance job, if I talk about, there could be certain job roles which align on different skills as compared to ones, like for example IBD totally different from normal banking or uh, maybe equity roles. Okay, so you have to put up those skills and showcase those skills within the finance domain so that it aligns to the job role. Okay, yeah, that's it. Guys, can you move further? I guess there's one more slide here. Yeah. Here I have, like, I wanted to show to the example again. Like, if we talk about the share consulting global, the example here, it is an internship which I did. Okay, in 2020. So two things you can see here. First is like the organization name clearly in a table towards the left. Then the title of the things which I did highlighted the industry as well as the area under consideration, the country, basically to highlight here was that, so that I have an international exposure towards some end. Just wanted to highlight that the year itself. Okay. Now, if you look at the sentence, I have highlighted the impact which I created, the role and responsibility which I had in terms of the analyze how many projects. Okay, and also the scope of my study. Like I simply mentioned, determine operational feasibility and size of e-buses market. That is one sentence where I'm just studying the market, but how I am doing it, by analyzing or analyze 50 plus public and city council projects. That is the work which I did to complete the first one, and the scope of my work was 25 UK cities. Okay, similarly, if you go to the first one here within the Hansraj college, that is my POR. Okay, I was the project director at Nectar Hansraj. So if you look at the second point here, generated total revenue of USD 0.3 million, sold 490 purifiers, shared the proceeds with Samvedna NGO. The three things which are highlighted here: first, impact I generated through revenue number, then the number of sales I made, that is totally bringing out my marketing side. This was the major point in my marketing CV. Okay, and then finally share the proceeds with Samvedna NGO. There's a social aspect associated to it. Okay. If you look at the first sentence in this, then there's a like reduce the cost by 10%. There's a direct impact in terms of the numbers. Because of that, what was the achievement for my team? That we were confirmed with Coca-Cola award out of 67 teams. Again, the number to bring the perspective of like how many total teams were there at Enactus Nationals, because that's a major event, and the year just to suffice like in which year we did that. Okay. Yeah. I guess this is the last slide. Yeah. Guys, now I guess we can take up the questions here if you guys have any.
So, sir, I had a question basically.
Yeah.
The place where you mentioned that we can write the achievements at the top of the CV also, like below the table, academic table that we'll be creating. I
Okay.
just wanted to know, like, there are a different set of achievements. Like, there are extracurricular activities, the various competitions, and certain academic achievements as well. So,
Yeah.
if we'll write all of them over there, won't it create a chaos over there, or shall we divide it into sections and then place it?
Okay, I just want to highlight one more point here that guys, if preferred, make a CV which is completely tabular. It's the part of the entire table which you have like as an examples I shown on the screen, like the certain table where the cells are aligned and you are putting the content in those cells itself. They could be merged, they could be expanded any way possible, but it's in a table. Okay. In that case, what you can do is actually what see bringing out the achievements separately also can work. Okay, like if you have a separate header for academic achievements and separate header for college achievements, that's totally understandable. Or you want to name it out as an extracurricular achievements or anything else. Okay, but the thing is, from the point of view, if you want to save your space and you have a lot of points where your CV is extending to more than one pager, then you would surely want to club and get as many lines as possible at your end, right? So you would want to club the achievement bar, like the header, okay, and would want to club the achievements there. There's no harm in clubbing it, but make sure you point it out by mentioning the organization towards the left. Like in this organization, I had these many achievements, and in this organization, I had this many achievements. Okay. Uh, if you're not calling it out separately and it's not visibly appealing, then please, it would become chaos. Make sure of that. Do get visibility on your CV from your peers and your seniors if it is not appearing at a hodgepodge and it's not confusing to anyone. Okay, that's my advice.
So that is the major question because a lot of people face a lot of problems while structuring the CV. And a
Yeah.
specific question towards this is that for a consulting profile, of course, a varied set of experience is needed. But what if I
Yeah.
want to sit for a financial profile or something like that, and I have a different set of experience? So how do we tailor the experiences, or how do we tailor the CV specific to the company that we are sitting to, or shall we make it a generalized one?
No,
If you
no, no.
could
So you,
shed
I
some
would
light on
advise you
it.
to make, as I mentioned earlier also, that you need to make a domain specific CV before you jump to the job specific. Okay. Like you will have to make a consulting CV which is different from the finance one. Okay, you need to understand what actually a consulting firm looks into a candidate's profile and what actually a finance firm looks into the profile. If I'm talking about a finance firm here, they will surely want to look into the core financial skills. Like if you have a finance internship, or either you have doing some research paper on finance, or you have some awards and achievement in some income tax act subject or any other subject which is directly aligned to finance. Okay, if you have those points, those will bring value for your finance CV. Okay, but please note that it is not something you will not put in your consulting CV. That is also advisable. If you don't have much content to align in your consulting role, then you can surely put out anything which supports your cause. Okay, but what a consulting firm majorly looks around is a more holistic CV. Like you have to excel, or you have certain points in academic achievements. You should be in top of your game there. Okay. You also have certain PORs to show. Okay. You have certain internships and certifications which are more aligned to the strategy role. Okay. When I talk about strategy role, it could be say commercial due diligence somewhere in that area. where I mentioned like market entry strategy, growth strategy. You have worked on some of the with the startup or with the project. Okay, uh, some certifications if you have towards the strategy end of it. Okay, even if you have a certification in technical skills here, like you are expert in making presentations and story building. Okay, that could also work out for a consulting firm. Okay, and consulting firm will also look for your softer skills in terms of position of responsibility, because they would want to make sure that they can trust you with the level of work they will be giving out to you. Okay, then in terms of extracurriculars, they would want to be active outside of your organization and outside of your studies. They would want you to be part of certain NGOs, either as a public speaker, you are part of some clubs and everything. Okay, though I'm talking about all the sections, I want you to put certain points in all the sections, but please not, those are kind of the maximum which you should hit. It's not that it's the minimum bar, it's the maximum bar. Like you should have something in each and every section that surely will get you a shortlist of a consulting firm. Okay, guys, 4 more minutes. I have a hard stop at 6, so I can just take one or two more questions here.
So, sir,
So I wanted to ask that is it advisable to specifically have a volunteer experience area in your resume?
Volunteer with what? You are talking about an NGO or within a
NGO and
society in college?
so NGO, so with NGOs only.
See, if you have, see, what I personally think is you can have you have a maximum time at your hand when you are in college. Okay, you can surely work out with an NGO over the weekends or maybe just a day, maybe a week, or anytime you feel suitable. Okay, and having that kind of experience will surely be adding more value to your CV. Okay, it is something you're taking up outside of your work. Okay, it will surely bring your CV in good light. So my advice would be, if you can pick up something, that's well and good. If you are not able to put it, then it's not something, you will not get shortlisted at all, but it is something which you should look forward to, that if you are able to put it, then do bring it out. Guys, one last question here then.
sir, we
That
request you to
does
take
a
these
cover
two
letter and
questions.
resume are two different things.
Yeah, totally different, man. Cover letter is something, how do I put it? So see, cover letter, CV, and resume are totally different thing. Cover letter and CV are mostly accompanied together in most of the applications. Okay, cover letter is kind of a short description or a brief intro of yourself, which can or cannot pick certain points of your CV itself. Okay, it can also contain your focus on certain softer skills, like you can bring out and softer skills, like if you have leadership skills, you have work, you can manage a team, you can support those through certain examples in that cover letter which you have mentioned in your CV. Okay, the cover letter is mostly to make your recruiter like what say eye catching. Your CV, you have to make your CV eye catching through a cover letter in a way that he should be interested to read your CV after it. Okay, but I don't think many of the companies ask for a cover letter in the college applications, like at your level.
So there was one more question. Like,
Okay, yeah,
shall we
last
add a
question, guys.
one-liner description also for the company that we are putting the experience of?
As in where you want, like the description of the company in your CV, like where you worked.
Yes, sir.
No, it's not advisable. Only if you have a lot of space available in your CV. I would not advise you to put a company description. You don't. Everyone knows companies in a way. Okay. Even in case if you are working with some non-brand company, you have interned with some company which is which might not be known to people. I also have those in my profile. But you have to bring out the value of the work which you have done there. Okay, there might be chances that people are not aware, that's the something which is which we call it as a non-brand work. Okay, and but you have to take a call there, but that the company might ask you, sorry, the interviewer might ask you the details in your CV, in your interview itself. Okay, you don't have to put any description of the company or any other details of the company or the address or anything. Nothing is required. Save space to the extent possible, just put the points which add value to your profile there, and make your case that you should be shortlisted. Okay,
Thank you so much, sir, for this
So
informative
sorry, guys.
session.
I just wanted to extend this session for sure because we had technical glitches, but I
It's
have a
all
hard
right,
stop
sir.
here.
It's totally understandable. Please accept this token of gratitude on behalf of Hindu Consulting Group. Thank you for this informative session. I'm sure we all learned a lot from it.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.